Goodness. I am resident of Collinwood for YouTube, Joel Sains. I'm joined by my buddy Gordon Dymowski, my buddy Patrick McCray. We're here to discuss Dark Shadows 837, written by Violet Wells, directed by Leila Swift, narrated by Lewis Edmonds. I picked this episode, and I'll tell you exactly why I picked this episode. This is the episode where Julia uses the I Ching wands to go back in time to help Barnabas after receiving a note from Barnabas from 1897. And we've talked about, like, it's hard to judge pick a director. I pick Leila Swift as my all-time favorite DS director, and here's why. I've been talking about the beginning episodes, as I'm sure you guys know. I've been going through them. And there was a scene where she shoots the feet of one Roger Collins, and the way she positions these cameras is absolutely amazing. Well, there's a scene in this episode where when Julia uses the I Ching wands, there's the door with the I Ching wands and how they're shaped, but there are two other doors she goes through, and then another door after that. And then the door of the I Ching wands slams behind her and stuff. It closes.
Well, she's going through customs.
Well,
yeah.
And
she's reenacting the intro sequence from Get Smart. I mean, it's that obvious.
I really love what they do here with the camera. They do this little turn to justify Julia's time travel, because when we think about time travel in Dark Shadows and everybody who did it before Dr. Julia Hoffman, okay, Victoria Winters used the seance, and then Jeff Clark sort of pulled her back through time, or she stepped.
He just did it.
Yeah, and then there's Barnabas, who willed himself through time. Well, and we've seen Barnabas use the I Ching wands. Well, he had a body to go back to. Well, here's Dr. Julia Hoffman. She doesn't have a body to go back to. She can't exchange a body with somebody else's. So she literally is taking her astral body and sending it back through time. And I love what Leila Swift does here, and sort of is letting us know what that would sort of look like with the sort of weird camera spin that we get. I do think it's on purpose. I know you guys are probably going to disagree with me, but I do think the camera shot we get where it's like turning, I think that's on purpose. And that's where
sure. And it was counterclockwise. That's how she went back in time. If it had been a clockwise turning, it would have been going forward in time.
Yeah, everyone knows that, Joel. I mean, get with the program.
This is science.
Yeah.
Well, Joel, of course it's on purpose. Why would we disagree?
Well, no.
They agree.
Yeah, and
Julia, your children into a frenzy.
Yeah, and Joel, if Julia removed that special gadget she had, the red light means that history is messed up. She has to fix it, and green means history is okay. Like, we all know that.
It does. One controls how fast and the other controls the speed and force with which it moves around.
Mm-hmm.
I really do love the interaction between Nancy Barrett's Pansy Faye and Lewis Edmonds' Edward Collins.
What part of her body are you referring to as her Pansy Faye? Oh, you mean the character of Pansy Faye?
See, I thought Pansy Faye was like a dessert that was made with shortbread and cream and chocolate.
Said.
Oh my God! I really like, because she's very paranoid about who's going to kill Quentin, because this is the day that Quentin dies, or so they say. She actually suspects Julia, not that she knows who Julia is, of being the potential assassin for Quentin. And I love how Lewis Edmund handles it. He just, as Edward, he just like, no. And Lewis Edmonds actually checks Dr. Hoffman's pulse in this episode, making sure she's alive, touching her wrist.
I love it when Quentin comes in. He's like, "Oh, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah,
didn't know you had it in you old boy. Well, I'm glad you're finally coming over to the other team. Good for you."
Yeah, because with Edward, everyone knows when that drawing room is a rocking, you don't come knocking.
Yeah. And I love how
when the Victrola's a spinning, there's gonna be sinning.
I do love what David Selby does. He checks Dr. Hoffman's pockets because she's not talking. And by the way, she's doing this on purpose. This is a really great job by Grayson Hall.
Well, he didn't inherit anything. Of course he's going to check her pockets.
He's already checked the couch cushions, not much there. So where else is he going to look?
She's going to wake up. Time travel must have jostled you. I guess it turned you upside down and your things fell out of your pockets.
I do love that he checks.
Loose change and Jolly Ranchers.
Always.
And when he checks her pockets, he finds the note. He goes, and she tries to take it from him. She goes, stop. He goes, I'm not going to hurt you. He goes, I'll give it back to you. I promise. He goes, I have to do this because you're not talking, or you can't talk. And he reads the note in full, and he's asked her, he says, Dear Julia, are you Julia? And I love what David Selby does here. It's really, really good. What did you guys think? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Gordon?
Well, I think it's a clever play on a well-established time travel trope, which is you write something in the past so you can find in the future, so you go back to rescue it.
Let's see, here's a question though. Was it a tried and true trope at this point, or did this kind of invent that?
I think it might have been used on the Twilight Zone.
All right.
But I do think that the idea of planting something in the now to be opened in the future, and then you get because don't forget because and I think too it's the idea that now that Quentin and Barnabas are kind of they're frenemies for lack of a better term. He's the one that's probably going to be a little bit more like snarky about, what's this? And when he realizes it's Barnabas, it's like, Barnabas is right there.
And Quentin asks a great question. This was a lovely detail. This was written today. Why is it so old? Which, of course, it just could have been written on old paper. They had invented old paper by then. Back to the Future actually did this 12 years before. Because Doc Brown writes that letter in 1885 to get to Marty. So
you just provided proof this is a tried and true trope. So
I did. No, but in the essay I do talk about. I think probably Back to the Future got this from here. Mm-hmm. Given how much Zemeckis and Gale love vampires anyway, and what age they were was probably late high school, early college when this was going on, and I'm sure they were, this is usually a dead time during the college day. Mm-hmm. Which, it's a tangent, but I think it's an important one. We don't talk about the potential college audience for Dark Shadows. We always hear about the college audience for Star Trek, but never for Dark Shadows. But 4:30 in the afternoon, unless, you have a job. Mm-hmm. Then that's a different story. But 4:30 in the afternoon usually is a kind of a lull in the college day, at least in my days. So I wonder if there were a big audience for Dark Shadows then in college. Just a thought. I don't know. Be interesting.
Well, you need something to watch while you're dropping acid. So.
Exactly. Well, if you were watching the acid, you wouldn't drop it.
Yeah, simple. Yeah.
You'd know where to find it.
Mm-hmm.
Shrooms.
We don't get too many location switches in this episode. We do get Julia coming.
Locations are for suckers.
We do get Julia coming from the future of 1969 to 1897, and we do get a completely different. Barnabas has Quentin and Julia meet Barnabas in a different location. He's not in the old house after he gets out of the basement of the old house after Quentin frees him from the jail cell in the old house, which I like. I do like how Quentin maneuvers himself to save Barnabas here. He's not a suspect in helping Barnabas in any way in Edward's mind, which I found really interesting always when I go back and watch this episode.
I kind of imagine chicken, like this letter. There are chicken bones wrapped up in it. And when he takes it out and he says, "Oh, I guess Adam was saving these." Because imagine if Adam had run into that letter first. Who knows what would have happened to it?
Well, we all can't leave like little bundle packages like they did in the Blair Witch Project outside of people's tents.
I think Adam left a bunch of little bundle packages all over the place, depending on what was in that soup Barnabas was feeding him.
Yeah, especially if once he got to Collinsport and he had those scars surgically, he would left a lot of little packages, if you know what I mean.
Can you imagine? So Stokes ordered, because back then you didn't have disposable diapers. You had, a diaper service that came to your house. Can you imagine when Stokes starts ordering, a diaper service, what those diapers must have been like when he had Adam with him? I mean, just massive.
Oh, those weren't the packages I was talking about with Adam.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see.
What did you guys think of the prophecy that gets mentioned in the letter? Two events have come to pass, and the third one is Quentin is to be rejected when Jameson rejects Quentin. That hasn't happened yet.
Oh, but it will.
But what did you think about the prophecies that lead to Quentin's demise?
The groovy. I mean, it's a part of the mechanics of the show of Dark Shadows.
Yeah.
But who sets up these prophecies? Tell me who made the prophecy? I don't remember.
Well, I think that Beth had initially talked about the prophecy, I believe it was her.
Who did? Beth?
Barnabas actually learns it. He writes in the letter that he learned it 24 hours, right up until his imprisonment by Edward. So he's writing the letter in hopes it reaches Julie.
Yeah, I saw with that, but I'm wondering, who came up with this prophecy?
Yeah, because it's not like Magda says, okay, well, here the tarot, and the tarot says, this will happen, this will happen, this will happen.
I would say it would have to be Beth.
Because
what makes Beth an authority?
Well, she's the one who, keep in mind, she is the one who's going to ultimately pull the trigger. Now if you're meaning from a writing,
that's not a prophecy, that's a threat.
If you're meaning from a writing standpoint, who thought of this?
No, in universe, a prophecy is kind of a magical thing. It's this,
right?
Vision into the future. So I'm not, I'm not that familiar with Dark Shadows. I don't recall.
What's Dark Shadows?
Where it's like Strange Paradise, but American.
Oh, okay.
It's Strange Paradise is kind of a sad, pale imitation American cousin.
What's Strange Paradise?
Which is why Lincoln killed himself over it. But seriously, I don't remember in the story where this prophecy comes from.
Wait. Joe, you asked what Strange Paradise is? Come on, everyone knows what Strange Paradise is. Where have you been?
Didn't you see the Tim Burton Strange Paradise movie?
It was next you'll be asking like what is the Star Lost and who is the kids in the hall? It's like, but what is your problem, Joe? Are you not that connected?
Well, you see, I treat Strange Paradise the same way you guys treat the second Prisoner show. Okay, I don't really give a shit about it. Anyway, so there's that.
Well, but the second Prisoner shows where they got it right.
What second Prisoner show?
Pop Goes Caviezel.
I think.
Oh, okay.
I think I think it was Beth told him about the prophecy because she was there for it all. I mean,
it's not the only thing you got from Beth. Now I'm going to issue an opinion.
Good.
Done. But seriously, the opinion is this. man, I love this episode.
Mhm.
I think this is one of the two great, maybe three. For me, there are three really great Julia Hoffman hero moments. One's really simple, and it's where she has to deal with Gerard and the earring that's missing, and she just bluffs flawlessly, showing that she has really mastered that particular game. The other one is where, of course, she kills her mirror double. And it's a Dr. McCoy thing. You remember Dr. McCoy makes that medical threat? He says, I could kill you Dr. McCoy occasionally would do that. He would say, I don't know exactly where to get you, and so on. And then Nurse Chapel would bring him his coffee the way he likes. But then this is the other one where she is such a stone cold that she simply wills herself back in time. And as you said, Jewel, and this is a metaphor as much as anything else, with nobody to catch her.
Yeah.
And she doesn't need one. And then when she goes back, she's bulletproof. So Andreas Patofi, courtesy the American Medical Association.
Yeah, Julia Hoffman is the secret badass of Dark Shadows.
Oh yeah. And I mean, if I were a fan video making guy, if the fan videos had something other to do than the imagined romance between Aristide and Count Patofi, which is my greatest accomplishment, it would be that horrible Bonnie Tyler song, I Need a Hero, which is in such poor taste, but damn it, works every time anyway, with a Julia Hoffman montage.
See, I do It's a Heartache, because that was Bonnie Tyler's masterpiece.
I would do It's a Hard Knock Life from Little Orphan Annie.
Yeah, I don't think Bonnie Tyler ever sang Hard Knock Life.
Can you imagine Bonnie Tyler as Annie? Just
I can't.
with a cigarette hanging out of her mouth.
And I want to see it happen. Jewel, go do that right now. Bonnie Tyler, Annie, go do that.
Ving Rhames is Daddy Warbucks.
Listen, I'm not really somebody who can form
music
videos and like Dark Shadows scenes together. That's other people. I can't really do that. But if I would choose, I wouldn't choose Bonnie Tyler's. I Need a Hero. That was used for what, Footloose, originally, I think.
Footloose? Was it?
I think so. I think originally it was wrote for Footloose, the movie.
I thought it was the theme to that show that John Eric Hexum was in when he killed himself.
I don't know. I think initially it was used for Footloose.
I don't think he killed himself because of that song.
Yep, right, Jewel is right. Holding Out in a Hero was written for the soundtrack of Footloose,
which I have never seen, even though I was a big John Lithgow fan at the time.
Yeah, good movie. But now it's been used in other movies, though, like Short Circuit 2. It was used in a slew of other movies.
Jewel, one of the things I love about you is that the discography within the movie Short Circuit 2.
Yeah,
I don't remember anything about Short Circuit.
I mean, who is the one about the robot?
But who is Johnny? She said, and smiled in her special way.
I guess I'll use a rap. I'll use a rap song for Dr.
Oh, great!
James.
Yeah, that's going to get me and Gordon immediately. We're
big
hip-hop fans.
Absolutely. See, I would use what is it? Oh, sorry. X is going to Give It to You by DMX.
What? Joel,
why not Bring the Noise by Public Enemy?
Hold on, wait. My friend is a rap expert. Now, what did you just?
By DMX.
Yeah.
X is gonna give it to you.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Jessica Chavis, ladies and gentlemen. Rapologist.
That's what I would use for Dr. Julia Hoffman. She is a badass.
How short is your circuit, Jewel? Anyway.
It's
Who's Johnny? She said. You know what? Speaking of that era, I'm going to make a proclamation right now.
Good.
And it's about Goonie love. Goonie love, Jewel, for you. Goonie love for me. Goonie love. It's good enough for me.
Very nice.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of Pansy Faye accusing Julia of being the potential assassin for Quentin?
She's just passing time. What I want to talk about is that shoe. Very rarely has this show gone into Quentin Tarantino country, but Leela Swift must have really liked Nancy Barrett's foot.
Yeah,
because that is a magnificent shoe on a magnificent foot, and it's Dark Shadows normally doesn't do something kind of just that vaguely oogling, and it really fixates on that foot, and then we go upward. They were a little saucy there. Well, I mean, Pansy Faye, I mean, she's a psychic, so she's going to make inaccurate predictions.
yeah.
So it's a warm reading. Chick shows up from another century, an easy person to peg the whole problem on.
Yeah. You talk about foot. Yeah, she's shaking her foot, and that's what Leela Swift is focusing on.
Joel, I think the explanation for that shot is simple. Leela was getting harassed by guys who were foot fetishes saying, "We want to see this." They were all in college. They were
not represented.
Up with the LSD, and she said, "Okay, here's a shot. Leave me alone."
Full circle.
I also think, well, for Leela Swift, she is somebody who I take away from, and again, this is just my opinion, she really takes full advantage of the camera. And keep in mind, in the beginning episodes that she directs a lot of, there's a scene where she shoots Louis Edmonds' feet walking across the foyer up to the stairs, and she shoots it that way. So, and what she's doing there is building suspense. Now, she's not exactly building suspense by shooting Pansy Faye's foot here, but what she's setting in is a tone. Here's this character who's very relaxed, but also goes from relaxed to flips out in a heartbeat, which I love.
Dames.
She's pandering to college age foot fetishists. Some are into women's feet, some are into men's feet. It's that simple.
But no one's into Hoyt Axton's feet, except the Germans.
Well, what's you guys' fetish? Everybody has a fetish.
Joel, what the hell kind of question is that?
Joel, yeah.
That's a very personal question.
Well, I had to throw.
You know what I say? Drinking a glass of milk and reading my Bible before I go to bed at a decent hour.
There you go.
My fetish is NOYDB. None of your damn business.
Bravo, good sirs, bravo. What's you guys' favorite scene in this episode?
Really ask that. The one where you ask us what our fetishes are.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, geez, Joel. No, wait to kill the mood.
You can't unsmoke that cigarette, my friend.
I mean, what's next? Are you gonna like start threatening people randomly? Like, hey, meet me out in a parking lot for a pie fight.
Jessica, that's a fetish. Jessica, this is Jules. What do you think Jules's fetish is?
No,
I think his fetish.
Yeah, what do you think Jules's fetish is? Well, she said she doesn't know.
Anyway, what's you guys' favorite scene in this episode?
What's that? Dactylphilia. He's got a tear fetish. What do you know?
No.
Yeah. My favorite scene in the episode? Well, I mean, the whole thing, but Julia successfully transporting herself back in time. And I have to admit, I love the moment where Quentin walks in on Edward that I talked about earlier. Just, no, Edward, because Selby is so subtle. That is a moment of acting that with just a micro nudge a little further would have been in poor taste, the sort of thing I would have directed. But Selby's able to communicate what needs to be communicated right past standards and practices without, alerting, the imperial presence. And I think that's one of the things Dark Shadows does so well, is that they are really able to get away with the maximum often without really drawing the ire of standards and practices. Although we don't know what they originally had planned. We don't know what was cut from Dark Shadows. So I have no idea. I think it was making so much money for ABC at a certain point. They just didn't care.
Yeah, I'm sure what was cut was Quentin asking Edward, so redheads are your fetish, huh?
Well, no, because he would have run off with his wife. That would have made everything so simple. It would have been a wife swap thing. Edward would have taken Jenny. Quentin would have taken Laura. But, in that case, someone's going to get burned.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Gordon, what's your favorite scene in this episode, man?
I think my favorite scene is Quentin and Edward, because it's just the right note.
It's really good. It's really good.
My favorite scene, obviously, is the camera work being done when they turn it counterclockwise. Really, really great. How they displayed it, how they showed it. Just an amazing job all around by the production crew and Legal Swift.
There is an episode, and I believe it's in the 400s, and it aired, or it was taped a week ago, or it was taped last Monday. So whatever date that was, like 406 or something like that. I hate to ask you, I don't have access to a laptop. Could one of you gentlemen perchance look that up on the wiki? Because this is one so good. I've contemplated writing a daybook about it. In fact, I've started several times, and every time I've been interrupted at work to do what they pay me to do. So I haven't been able to do it. But it is one of those
episodes.
lovely.
Sorry.
406 is Angelique survives her wound and tries to keep Barnabas alive for fear of the curse she has set upon him.
No, this would have been whatever was. I would look up what the date was last Monday or Tuesday. Maybe it was last Tuesday.
Oh. What year?
1968. Yeah, 1968. It is it's the episode where I think it may be where they say vampire for the first time, but it's where Barnabas it's the first morning where Barnabas wakes up and Ben hasn't killed him. And it's the one where Josette indeed does come back to him at the mausoleum. And
is it 416? Because that would be the 23rd.
I think that was it. What's does it have like a blurb attached?
I'm pulling from another website, but it is morning. Okay. Naomi is in the drawing room of Collingwood drinking.
It's a day ending in Y.
Joshua came in through the front door, returning from his business trip in Portsmouth.
How's it end? How does it end?
Ben gasps, "What are you saying?" Barnabas replies, "You know." Ben exclaims, "I can't, I won't." Barnabas replies, "You must." Ben protests, "But I'll destroy you." Barnabas replies, "I'm already destroyed. You will save me from an eternity of agony."
I think it might be the next episode. So this is the episode where Angelique, like her floating head, reappears. It's got a lot of floating head. The reason I'm saying this is I think it would be a really great episode to talk about.
Yeah, you're right, because 417 is Angelique stops Ben from killing Barnabas.
That's it.
Intending that the curse will last forever.
Yes, that's it. Wow, it's not only really good, but it actually explains. I think if you look between the lines, it makes it clear why Barnabas is so fixated on Josette. when he, emerges, especially when he emerges from the coffin. And I mean, because often we accept that Barnabas is in love with Josette because the show keeps telling us Barnabas is in love with Josette, but we know that he's secretly, destined for Angelique, and that's who he's into. So what is it about Josette? And we can make a lot of jokes, but I'm being serious now. What is it about Josette that continues to compel him? And there is just a very, it's going to sound contradictory, but a very clear pattern of intentional nuance, especially in the performances of Scott and Frid, and in the writing. When I was watching, and I was like, oh, well, there it is. That's there, in the words of Khan, there she is. Not so wounded as we were led to believe. So I would love to talk about that.
When do you want to talk about it?
Whenever it's good for the G-Man.
Let's see. We can do. So let me look at my calendar. I am good tomorrow or Tuesday.
It's tomorrow. The strike while the irony is hot.
Mm-hmm.
What time do you guys want?
Let's stick with 10:30.
Okay.
Well, let's not change horses.
Okay.
If that's okay with Gordon.
Yeah, it's okay with me.
Okay. So episode 417 tomorrow night at 10:30.
It's a cracker.
Is there anything you guys want to add about episode 837 before we get on out of here?
Pure elan. It's just it's a dazzling moment where the imagination of the show really peaks. It's so worth watching.
Mm-hmm. Gordon?
Yeah, I think this is definitely one of the ones for the ages.
Yeah, really great episode. Just awesomely shot, awesomely written, and awesomely performed.
Yeah, it's the episode that broke Jewel and had him asking us publicly about our fetishes. So,
well, I had to ask you something after you guys were talking about foot jobs. So, anyway,
no, we never
foot fetishes.
Joel, now here's the thing: you're taking this. Yeah, that's yeah. I'm not a podiatrist. I don't have a job involving feet.
Yeah. Joel, here's something. When Patrick and I first met eons ago, in his first email, he said that he kind of looked like Corey Feldman. I've maybe made 2 jokes about that, and those were in the last year.
Yeah.
So going from that, so you go in foot fetish because we're talking about feet. That's a bridge too far. That's really, like, seriously, Joel. I'm concerned. I am really concerned.
Yeah, me too. I'll go check myself into an asylum. Anyway, maybe it's called Wincliffe. No. No. Links to Gordon Dymowski's Amazon page is going to be in the description box. Links to Patrick McCray's Dark Shadows Day Book Unbound is going to be in the description box. Go pick that up if you haven't already. Guys, I will see you tomorrow night for episode 417. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.